Welcome to Why They Play the Game, a show created to discuss the NBA on and off the court. I am Michael Eric Owens.
And I'm Ken Hayes.
Hey, my brother, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
Man, I'm doing good, brother, man. It's been exciting to see the preseason finally jump off.
Yeah, and the thing about it, Mike, and I know we're gonna get into it, but a lot of the, let's say, quote unquote superstars haven't really just played yet. So,
Yeah.
like we talked about last week, maybe they're trying to get their feet out, their legs under them, and get healthy and things like that. So, don't look too much for the big stars to come out and play a whole lot of minutes. So I hope people don't have to buy those expensive tickets and say,
Oh man. Yeah, if you bought Bucks tickets, you've been disappointed so far
right.
because the dynamic duo has not even stepped on the floor. But from what Coach Doc Griff, I'm gonna call him, from Doc Griff, he says Sunday Dame in against LA, Dame and Giannis will be out there on the floor. But Ken,
Okay.
before you pipe in, listen, folks, always hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification button so you can get all of our content. We love hearing from you, man. We got some great comments
Right.
after every show, so keep them coming in. But yeah, did you have a chance to check out any of the games or the preseason games?
So I did I looked at, well, locally, the Bucks
Okay.
and the Bulls.
Okay.
Like I said, nobody really played. Getting your legs under
Mm-hmm.
them. Chicago, they got some decisions to make. I think it, and we'll talk about it a little later, but it just
Yeah.
seems to me that they're kind of walking in sand and not getting anywhere. But like I said, we'll talk about that. What about yourself?
Yeah, I had a chance to. I've been watching, all as many games as I can possibly, and watching the highlights, of course, those that I couldn't. But yeah, I was very impressed with the Bucks in how the reserves really exercise their energy on the defensive end. I mean, that was
Okay.
very impressive to see them come out with a defensive mindset and not to have your best three players. Impressed with Beasley to start with.
Yeah.
He's playing very good. Ken, you think he might get that fifth starting spot?
I think it's going to be. I'll say this: it's going to come down to three of them: Beasley, Beauchamp, possibility. They did mention Portis, but I would rather for him to come off the bench. That's just me personally.
Mm-hmm.
So
What about Connaughton, Pat?
they mentioned him, but I just don't. I don't see that. But you never know. I
I
think
think it might be Beasley.
Beasley. Yeah, I think
I
he
think
has
it might be Beasley.
out of all of them, I think he has the best shot. So
Yeah, he seems a little bit more advanced than Beauchamp at this point.
Definitely.
But Beauchamp's looking good too. I mean, he's second year, he's playing hard, man. But I did get to see that San Antonio, Oklahoma Thunder game, and
Locally, huh?
man, Chet Holmgren against Victor Wembanyama,
Uh-huh.
and man, they were battling, Ken. I mean,
Okay.
it was Chet was hitting threes. He had the
What?
dribble drive spin, and
Uh-huh.
Victor was hitting threes, man. Victor had this one move, man, where he went right, went left, hung in the air, and like scooped it with the left hand at 7-3. I was like, no, come on, stop it, man. No, you shouldn't be able to do that, man, at that. And the thing about it, he's a giant. Ken,
Yeah.
he looking at those other cats, I'm like, this dude is 7'3", 7'4", they're saying. Man, he had a couple of dunks, couple of blocks, good assists. He looked like the real deal compared to Summer League.
Okay. All right.
So,
That's good to hear, though.
Ken, our running rivalry now for Rookie of the Year. You said Victor, I said Scoot, and I did see I got an opportunity to see Scoot Henderson play, and he looked nice.
I saw the highlights of that, and yeah, he did look nice. He got a nice game. Yeah.
Oh man,
You
and he got
smooth.
an NBA, yeah, and he got an NBA body. So for
Yeah.
him, I think it's the same thing like it was with Paulo. You know, he comes in ready to
Go.
perform. And I see Victor needs a lot of work, man, just on his body, his movements. But Scoot seems to be like, all you got to do is just press go,
Right.
and he is out there. So it's exciting, man. It's good. I listen, folks. We know we're not seeing the best NBA basketball right now,
Oh
but
no.
I think it's cool to see players that wouldn't normally get that opportunity to get out there and showcase their skills. So for me, I'm having fun, man, just seeing some of these backups get out there and try to battle for some spots.
Right. And the thing about it, Mike, is that, you see some guys who, let's just say, who may not get a lot of playing time, but if they get moved from, let's just say, a trade or whatever the case may be in a better position to get more playing time with a different team. So yeah.
Exactly. Exactly, man. So I saw Boston. I did see Drew. Drew looked good. He hit some threes and he had some defensive players. Drew looked like Drew.
Drew, right.
And I was, they still, I don't know if you heard this, but they're talking about whether or not he's actually going to come off the bench.
Man, stop.
They talking about having White start, and they said they've had conversations with him. I don't see
Oh,
Drew being cool with that, man. I'm just saying,
you
I
making
don't know.
36 million, you coming off the bench? Come on, Mike.
Man.
Man,
So the
that's
first game he did come off the bench, but then the last game he started. So
mm,
they'll just have to see how that combination worked. But I think it's a mistake not to have Drew out there running your ball club. But they look good. That's the rivalry.
yeah.
I
Milwaukee and
mean,
Boston.
that's
So
that's the
well,
rivalry. And so I haven't really had a chance. I did watch LA for a little bit. And what do you think of LA's team?
they gonna need to make some adjustments. Let's just say before the trade deadline. I just don't think that the team that they have can really compete for a championship or just come out
Mm,
the West. They're behind Denver. I think they're behind Phoenix. Um, LeBron getting older, um, and then the inconsistency of the team in general. It's just not a
yeah.
good mix for them. So, and then I mean they picked up a couple players, but
Hmm.
nothing to make a huge difference in my opinion.
Hmm.
Schroeder, he left for
Yeah.
greener pastures.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I mean, I have yet to see the D'Angelo Russell come through in a clutch. I have yet to see some of these players that are playing well during the preseason step it up in the playoffs. And I think, him as your point guard, that's going to be problematic for you. And I know how much ball usage the King has. I get that.
right.
But LA is going to be a different team at game 60. Let's just be honest. After them bumps and bruises start setting in, LA is going to be a different team. And you've always said it, Ken, and you reiterated the last show. Can't nobody outrun Father Time. And so it's so year 21 means year 21. And I know he the king, and I know he doing things, man, that we haven't seen
right.
yet. Yet. The human body is a human body. And so I just think LA is I think why they're going to be exciting team to watch during the season. I just think once you get to 60, 65, 70 games, that's when the real, I think, teams start standing up and saying that we can make a run. And I just don't think they're going to be healthy enough. Same thing with the Clippers. I don't think they're going to be healthy enough. I just don't. Do you really think Kawhi and Paul George are going to play 70 games?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay.
No. I
Okay.
think Paul George has a better chance to play 70 than Kawhi. Um, I to him. This is my opinion. I'm not a doctor. Don't play one either. But I think Kawhi's, let's just say his knees are worse
Mm,
off than they're letting on. So
You are,
unfortunately, I mean,
yeah,
great
yeah,
player.
yeah,
I love his
yeah,
game, but
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, kid, I watched Kawhi play in the preseason, and he's not moving very well. I mean, he's still a quality player, but he doesn't have that burst.
explosiveness.
No, he doesn't have that. He doesn't have that breakdown because, again, man, I mean, it's probably if we knew his condition, we probably should be amazed at what he's still able to do on the court.
Right.
Um, but I just don't think I just don't think they have enough, Ken. But I want to transition because there's a no. Let me just say this first. Zion is back. We got to
Yeah,
talk about him now. He back, and he looked
it looked
real
good.
good. Yeah.
He did.
Hmm.
But how long is that going to last? That's the
That's the
key.
thing. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
We will he make? Oof. I, I mean, I hope for the NBA that he can, let's just say, or play the whole season. Let's put it that way.
Hmm. Hmm.
Be
Hmm.
healthy, stay healthy, um, and make New Orleans, let's just say, a a real playoff contender.
Hmm. Hmm.
They got a good squad.
They got a good
So,
squad.
um, it's it's going to be interesting to watch them. I- it's they need to be, let's just say, have a team effort and not solely depend on him as far as him and Ingram, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
Um, CJ getting a little bit older for the point guard, so he may,
Hmm.
may not need to play so many minutes, but that core is there.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of how healthy the team as a whole can be, in which
Yeah.
that's for every team, but for them, it's crucial.
It is. It is crucial. Yeah, they depend on him so much, man. And I like to watch them play, and I think they could be a very exciting
Oh,
playoff team. But again, um, can they stay healthy?
right,
That is the question. That's the question. So, Ken, this rumor's going around. We know the Philly situation. James showed up. We talked about that the last
right.
time, and so they're talking about swap James Harden for Zach LaVine. Um, Now I'm gonna tell you like this. I like that for Philly. I don't think it does nothing for Chicago, but I do like Zach LaVine in Philly with Joe Embiid, with Tyrese Maxey. I think he has less of an ego. I think he'd be more of a role player. And what Harden don't play no D anyway. So the argument might be, well, Zach, how much D does Zach play? Well,
Nah,
okay, but you don't see Harden playing D. So I don't
right.
I don't think you lose anything there. And I think too, I just think, having a new fresh face there would just be refreshing for that organization. What you think about that trade if that
I,
happened?
I tell you what, Mike. I think probably Nick Nurse is probably on his knees, just begging God to say, "Please bring Zach over here, please." But let me stop. Um, Zach, because right now Chicago, like I stated earlier, they in this, I'm gonna say, funk. Doesn't seem
Hmm.
like him and DeRozan get along that well. Zach, to me, sometimes he can be out of control. He'll grab the rebound, come down, shoot, hit or miss. It's going to be a three. In the crucial times,
Yeah.
like in the last 5 minutes of the game, let's just say, no, let's make it the last three.
Okay.
Sometimes he in there, sometimes he not. You know, um, it's just, I mean, he can shoot it. I just like to see him do some other things, like do a little
Okay.
bit more rebounding, play some
Exactly.
defense, you know,
Okay.
get some assists. Um, I'm uh, I won't. I'll say that for later. But yeah, a fresh face in Philly. Oh,
Hmm.
man. I
Yeah.
keep Nick Nurse. He on his knees right now, Mike.
Yeah, bro. You probably telling the truth, brother, because it's a mess, man. And it ain't nothing worse than being on a team with a guy that don't want to be there. And he's a big part of what you do.
but on the Chicago side, I mean they got a, let's just say, that big three. They have a big three, but the thing about it is that they just don't have a supporting cast. They got, I'm gonna say, they got too many point guards.
Yeah, they
I
do.
mean,
Yeah, they really do.
Ball, Kobe
Hmm.
White, who
Hmm.
else?
They got
Carter.
Levert. They
Yeah,
got Levert,
right.
right? They got Levert there, right? He there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean
Um,
they got too many. They got too many, man. And so um it's I just, man, this is what people need to understand about championships and when you build championship teams and cultures. When that ends, it's a long way back.
oh,
And we can go all the way back to Jerry Krause. We can go all the way
yeah.
back to the GOAT when he was there, when they broke that team up. And since they broke that team up, Ken, you know, they, they haven't really accomplished nothing. Okay.
I'm trying to. Did they go to the conference finals in the early 2000s with what was the guard? He's with Memphis now. I can't think of his name right.
I'm
Had
trying to think
had
about who you talk.
knee
Oh,
surgery.
Derrick Rose.
Yes, thank you.
I'm not sure.
I'm
I'm
not
not
you're right,
sure.
but
I'm
they
not
were
sure.
competitive at
They
during that
they they
time.
were they were competitive with B Rose
Right,
for
but
sure.
after that, I mean, besides that, Chicago who?
Yeah, and it's and why I might mention too that during those years the East was the least.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah,
let's just be,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Doing those reels because after that the King came in and just took over and just ran to the finals every year.
Every
You
year,
know,
right.
you know what I mean? So the East was not competitive, man. I would like to see that trade, man. It just I feel bad too, man. I haven't been the greatest Embiid fan because I think sometimes Joel, I think he just I
Lazy.
don't know. I don't want to. Yeah. I would like to see him be more aggressive in spots, and I just think he's such a gifted and talented
Oh,
player that
definitely.
if he played up to his, come on, if he can't nobody touch Joe Embiid, man. He can take you outside, he can
It's
go inside,
outside. It's
he can bully ball you, he can,
right.
and he's got great defensive skills too. So I do feel bad for him, man, because he's been wanting to compete. I mean, that's been his major complaint, man. Give me people that I can compete with. And he had the Ben Simmons thing, and then he had
No,
now he's got the James Harden thing, and it's just like,
one
man,
after another.
and I just feel like he's gonna probably say, I want to be traded,
Yeah,
and that would throw the whole NBA. You talking about folks trying to
man.
get Joel? Hey
Yeah.
man, kid, they probably be adding in aunties and uncles. They throwing everything, restaurants in the trade to get that dude, man, because that is, man. Yeah,
Well,
that
let me ask you this question though.
mm.
So on the Chicago side, if they make that trade, what happens to them?
When James comes in,
Yeah.
don't make the playoffs. I mean, basically, it's the James Harden show because DeRozan can play with anybody. I mean, his game is so versatile. He doesn't need the ball. He doesn't need, he all he need to do is go down there and post you up and fade on you. So he doesn't require all of that ball usage. So I think James there, he probably could lead the league in scoring. He probably could. That's what he said he want to go back to Houston to do.
Right.
That's what he said, right? So
Yeah.
if that's his goal, he probably could do that in Chicago, but he wants to go to the Clippers.
Yeah. That's his best shot at winning a chip. So I can see that, but I just, man, I'm gonna say my comments for a little later in the show. I know we're going to talk about the Atlantic division. So, but it's just, wherever James goes, it's just going to be some controversy, unfortunately.
It's not good. It's
So,
not good, man. It's not a good look, Ken. But Ken, since you brought up the Atlantic Division, which consists of the Boston, Philly, Knicks, Nets, and Raptors. So what are your thoughts on the Atlantic Division?
So let's start with Boston. Real active, in the off seasons with some
Mm-hmm.
trades and things like that. They lose Marcus Smart,
Mm,
Grant Williams, Robert Williams,
mm.
Brogdon. That's probably a starting five, right?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
they pick up Porzingis, pick up Drew. Their front court is real small.
Mm.
I know Porzingis is about 6'10",
Nah, he's
6'11",
seven one.
7'1". Okay,
Mm-hmm.
but soft as water. But that's
Oh yeah,
that's
yeah. You can't
so
even.
shot blocking or a rim protector they don't have. Um, their benches has gotten a little bit thin now. Al
Mm-hmm.
Horford is not the same person he was, let's just say 5 years ago,
Yeah.
maybe even 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So um, that front court is something to be desired. I put it that way. Picking up Drew, that was probably the best bet. Um, can they compete for a championship? Yeah, I could see that. Tatum and Brown, the dynamic
Yeah.
duo. I mean, they're special. So,
Yeah.
but in the clutch, are you going to come through? That's to me. And
Yeah.
they've been in the big. I mean, let's just say on the in the big show. So I think they can, but it's just putting it all together. I think, matter of fact, I'll say this, and I may go out on a limb on this, is that losing Brogdon,
Mm.
to me, that's huge. When I say huge, in the factor that you had a guy that could point guard, play good defense, could shoot the three, go to the basket. Not the same Brogdon that was with Milwaukee, but serviceable player. So
Didn't he win Six Man of the Year? Or who won Six Man of the Year? Was it Malcolm?
I thought
Put that in the comments.
yeah,
What I will say is this. I agree with you. The regular season, Malcolm Brogdon was a beast. Coming off of their bench, he was he added the offense that they needed. And the games that he was able to start, he added a dimension that they didn't have. And so when you think about Marcus, you think about what he brings to the table with his defense,
right.
right? Um, I want to say if you get a lockdown team on Boston, yeah, you got Tatum and Brown. Oh, they gonna do their damage.
Right.
Porzingis can be neutralized. Let's just be honest. Porzingis is not unstoppable. Okay, he can be neutralized. White has been very impressive.
Yeah, he has.
Very impressive. You know what I'm saying? Um, but are you really worried about White? Like if like you losing sleep the night before you gonna go up against Boston against White? No, you're
No.
not. So to me, Boston has always felt to me like they needed a senior piece, and it's not Drew. They needed a senior piece to help them young boys come along, and I feel like they're still missing that piece that's going to put them over the top. Now they're going to compete, and they're going to be a rough one, but I just don't think they have enough. I don't think they have enough to win a championship.
I, to me, the big factor for them is they depend on their 3-point shooting to win close games. I mean, every team is going to shoot threes, but they're too dependent on it. I put it
Well,
that
that's
way.
that's Joe Mazzulla because he's more about offense, and Udoka, he was more about
The
defense. And I
defense.
thought Boston was at their best when they locked down. Now you got Drew there. Now is Drew bringing that sort of defensive mentality that kind of Smart tried to do? Because Smart tried to, some press conferences, he had some things to say
Yeah,
about,
he
he was
did.
like, come on, man, we need to pass the ball. We need to hustle. We need to, so I don't know how well that's going to be received by, by Tatum and Brown, I don't know. But, The coach doesn't have that. That's not his mantra. His mantra
No.
is to outscore you. And I just think, man, in today's game, when you get to the playoffs, like you say, and things slow down, you definitely need to be able to lock people down. So the weak
Let me
link for me is Porzingis.
so let me ask you this question: have they gone backwards or have they gone forwards as far as in the acquisitions and losses that they had, in your opinion?
Backwards.
You think
And
backwards?
yeah, backwards in the regard of, as you mentioned, rim protecting. Okay, really protecting the paint. Giannis gonna eat the paint up. Who gonna
Right.
stop Giannis in Boston? Now, let's be serious, kid. Like, who is going to stop Giannis if they out there hit Dame out there doing his damage? You got Beasley over there. You got Brooks stretching the floor. You got Chris doing his thing. Giannis is like on the Autobahn. Okay, he just going straight downhill, dunking, because they don't have anybody down low. You can even
And
take Brook and put Brook down low. Who? Porzingis gonna hold him?
that's why I
Come
mentioned
on.
Hartford. And I
Yeah, but
like no, because the thing about it is that he ain't the same. He's not the same player. You know,
exactly.
his minutes are going to get limited too because he just can't. He can't play all those minutes
He
anymore.
37. He
Right.
37. Wait to game 60 and see what they got.
Right.
See what they got in the tank. Ken, I don't even know if we had to talk about the 76ers, man, and their
Well,
predicament. But
well,
go ahead if you.
let's look at the where we go in alphabetical order. Let's look at the Nets.
Okay.
So their big three is Ben Simmons, Johnson, and Bridges.
Did you see Ben play the other day? Did you get a chance to catch him?
Nah,
Oh,
how
he
you look?
was. Oh, he looked like the old Ben Simmons.
Okay,
I mean, he okay. And what I mean by the whole Ben Simmons, let me clarify that. He had some dunks and some layups. Okay,
okay, all right.
there was no threes being shoot, no turnarounds being done, but he looked like he was running the offense, passing. He had a couple of nice breakaways and cutting to the basket, and he had a little bank shot. So yeah, he looked better than what he has looked in the last what 2-3 years.
Okay, so your your best player on the team, somebody else is making $37 million. Let
Mm,
me put that in context for you. Ben Simmons is making 37, and he's not the best player on the team.
true, true.
So if Brooklyn really wants to compete, they are going to have to get a tier one player. Where they gonna find or trade or whatever they gonna do, that is what they're gonna have to do to compete for the East. They got, I think, Finney Smith and uh, Dinwiddie. But where's their scoring going to come from? Bridges, I like his
Hmm.
game. I like Bridges, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
Johnson, he a little, not a little, inconsistent. I'll put it that way. I'm be nice to him. I like him too. Um, but I don't. Matter of fact, they will make the play in, but they won't make the playoffs.
Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I probably go for that. I probably go for
Okay.
that. Yeah, I probably go for that. They let me see. They won't. I believe they will make the play in. I think they got a good chance to make the playoffs. To be honest with you,
Okay.
I really do because I just think after you get done with Milwaukee and Boston and maybe Cleveland, I think it's kind of a free fall in the East, man. Because with Philly the way that it is, if Harden, if he
Mm.
straightens up and fly right, then they might be that fourth team. But other than that, the East, in my opinion, I think
So
it might be wide
that
open.
bottom four.
I think it might be wide open. But I agree. Mikal Bridges, man, he is the best guy on their team. I like his game, like you say. I like the fact that he's a defensive guy, but he's also got offensive skills. And I'm looking for him to have a breakout year. He
Yeah.
might he might put on that All-Star.
Yeah. I can see that. I can see
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. I could, yeah. So all right.
Look,
So who we got next?
New York, the Knicks. Hmm.
Man,
You
man,
said that too.
man,
You're right.
man.
Brunson,
Yeah,
Randall,
Jude, yeah. Mm-hmm.
RJ. That's a big three now.
because they got rid of Toppin. Obi
Yeah,
Toppin,
yeah,
he's gone.
yeah.
They still have Quigley, right? They still have him, right? I believe
I
he's
believe
still
so.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, and I like
but
that
to
young boy.
but to me, the wild card in their on their team is Josh Hart.
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah.
RJ Barrett is just man. I'm gonna say inconsistent. I'm gonna use this word too many times tonight, but man, I'm like, come on, man, you got to show me something. I mean, he wants that max deal, and you just too inconsistent for me. I'm gonna say
Overhyped.
this, yeah, I'm gonna say this, Mike, and New York needs to make a major trade, and the trade that I'm thinking about is moving Randall for Siakam.
Interesting.
They gonna have to do.
Interesting.
They gonna have to do. Randall he's been in the last 2 years. He's been a big disappointment as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I mean Julius, man, and I like Julius, man. I like his game.
During the regular season.
I just think New York doesn't have enough. Like Julius is not a one. Okay,
No,
can we talk about that, right?
right.
So Brunson is not a one. Like they don't have a one. And I think when you try to put Randall in that position, that's where he fails, right? If he was a two and he was playing along, just say hypothetically, he's playing alongside a Giannis, or he's playing alongside a KD.
Okay.
That takes all the pressure off of him. Now you're not looking, but in New York, you're looking for Randall to be that dude. And I think unfortunately, as you have said, Ken, I think that mentality is gonna get him traded because he's just not that he's not that guy that's going to carry your franchise.
No.
Okay.
And they were talking about, I think let's just say the last two games before they got eliminated, bringing him off the bench. And
Yeah,
he's
that's what
supposed to be the man,
yeah. But that was
that's a,
disrespectful though.
right.
Yeah,
It was.
yeah.
But the thing about it is that, I think one game, Mike, he was like maybe let's just say 4 for 21.
Yeah, his shooting all those threes
Right.
is just I mean you can spot up and if Randall's shooting 2 threes a game, that's probably where he should be at. He needs to be in that paint. He needs to be working that low block. He needs to be doing things like that, like he did in his early career.
Right.
And for
Exactly.
some reason, man, he
Fell in love with the three.
man, he be out there jacking them too. He be. I think Brunson scored more on the inside than he does.
Right.
And that's that. So I don't. Do you think? You got him in the playoffs?
Oh, I got him in the playoffs, but how far they'll go, that's going to be the question. Is that hey, they have to find, they got to make a trade or do
Yeah.
something or somebody, because Baird, he sometimes he's there, sometimes he's not. And I'm just like, well, I mean, when you gonna come into your, let's just say, form of being a player that you said you can be? So it's gonna
Yeah.
get interesting in New York.
Yeah.
And the fans,
Yeah. Well,
go ahead.
go ahead, Ken. No, go ahead.
The fans gonna put the pressure on them, like this is supposed to be an up and coming team to compete with Milwaukee, Boston, and Philly. Where you at?
Listen, it ain't gonna happen, bro. And it's another thing that shocked me. Like, why do nobody wants to go and play in New York? In Madison Square, in the Mecca. Why does nobody want to go? Kevin Durant had an opportunity. Kyrie had an opportunity. He said, no, we're going to Brooklyn. Why in the world does no one want to go play in New York? Is it Thibodeau?
Yeah, I mean, I won't even say reports. I mean, but he does run his players into the ground physically.
Yeah.
Is it the pressure of the media in New York? The expectations. because they
I,
always looking for a winner in New York,
yeah,
regardless. So they got to have
yeah,
something to cheer for.
yeah, them real fans in New York, man. They real fans, man. Because when you got that history of pro sports like New York
Right,
has, man, it take a lot to impress New York fans. You know what I mean? Like they they expect for you to
right.
produce, and if you don't, they
Oof.
will tell
Let's
you
They'll
so.
let you know in a minute.
Oh, in a minute, man. And that's the environment that I think, like you say, Ken, a lot of players, they don't want no part of that. But that's where the ballers go. Rutgers Park. That's where the
Yeah.
ballers go, man. To show what you can do. I would like to see New York get back to being one of the premier teams in the Eastern Conference simply because of their history. Boston has got there, Milwaukee's there. I would like to see New York get back there. But like you say, Ken, unless there is a major trade, nah, man, they going out in the first round. They're going out this year. You know what? They might make it to the second round. But when I look at, and I know we're not talking about them today, but when I look at teams like Atlanta and teams like, man, them teams, man, they just, maybe it's fun to watch, but really they're not competing for a championship. Um, they're great players, but they don't have the talent. They don't have the personnel to compete for that. So where we at next, Ken?
Philly. We're back to Philly.
So what you
Man,
think?
look, I'm gonna say this, man. Tobias here making 37 million, Mike. I'm sorry. Man, come on, man. And you give me what? I'm gonna say 17, 19 a game. And I'm just thinking you making almost $40 million
Mm,
a year, and this is all I'm getting? Come on,
yeah,
man. And the thing
yeah.
about it, defensively, he's not that great.
No, he's
Um,
not.
let's just say for that Harden stays with Philly, and Harden is just a cancer. And I
Mm,
mean,
mm,
he gonna bring the
yeah,
team down. He gonna take his shots, and let's just say, I feel sorry for Nick Nurse, because the thing about it is that who
yeah,
wants to deal with that? Coming in as a new coach.
yeah.
Um, I mean, they picked up I mean, Patrick Beverly, but what does that do for you?
Stop,
Really?
Ken. Stop.
Right. That's what I'm
Okay, that's not
saying.
that's not even a pickup. You
Right.
should said they pick up Michael Owens. That's about how much that gonna help you.
Right. That's what I mean. So that let's just say that proposed Chicago deal. Yeah, they need that in the worst way.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
still don't think they'll be, let's just say team wise, they'll be better off, but competitive wise, a notch up a little bit, maybe.
Well, they
But
got they got PJ.
okay, PJ, what, 34, 35?
Yeah, PJ ain't giving you too much, man.
No, he
He ain't
not.
giving you too much, Leadership, what I'm saying? Locker
Right.
room,
Yeah.
he definitely, giving you that wisdom that young players need. But again, let's look at his numbers, decline in his numbers over the years. It's just, yeah, PJ is,
And
not the same PJ Tucker he was.
I think that's why Milwaukee didn't sign him
Mm.
after when they won the finals.
I was
So
mad too. I
really,
was mad. Man, I wanted PJ to stay, man. What I like
I
about PJ. Well, okay, let me say, in hindsight,
mhm.
oh, it was the exactly right thing to do. Okay. But as a fan of that year's team winning it, I was like, man, let's come back and do this thing again. Right. That was my mentality. And so when he left, I was like, oh man. And I think it did initially hurt the Bucks that he did leave.
I would say that toughness went away.
Especially
But
with what happened to Chris, what I'm
yeah,
saying, not having that leadership on the floor like they needed. So I thought initially it hurt them, but in the long run, yeah, that's why I'm not a GM, Ken. That's why I'm not making all those big decisions because they know better than I do. So
right.
I say it was looking back. Oh, it was definitely the right move, but I felt like they should have ran it back. That's what I wanted to see.
Okay. Okay, Chicago.
Yes, run it back. But yeah, so do you think so what do you think? Out the first round,
Who,
second
Philly?
round. Yeah, yeah. Conference finals.
No, no. Conference finals, no. They'll lose in the second round. Maxey I think, will come into his own a little bit more this year.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say they stay pat as far as don't make any major moves, and Harden is on the team. It's just going to be, I think it's going to be dysfunctional as far as the
Yeah.
team is concerned, unfortunately.
Well, like I say, Ben Simmons 2.0, bro, is what I
Yeah.
think it's going to be. I think it's going to be worse. And they probably, if they can finish like they did last year, they're going to run up against Boston anyway.
Right.
I mean,
So,
and then bam, see ya. But I cannot see a scenario unless, James has this epiphany. I cannot see any situation, man, where James Harden is on the Philadelphia 76ers for the entire year.
no, I don't see that either. But the thing about it is that what are you going to get for him? That's the big question for Philly.
Man, hey, they should go ahead and try to get Zach.
Yeah.
And get Zach and count your losses and go from there. Don't worry about no draft picks. Don't worry about nothing, man.
Nothing.
Because sometimes you just, it's like that old car that's sitting out in front. Yeah, you want a little $500 for it. And all of a sudden, 3-4 months go by, 6, man, just give it away. The
I
neighbors,
got you.
Ken, the neighbors complaining. Just
Tires
give it
flat.
away. Exactly. Just give it away.
But
So
got
now we're
one more.
looking at, yeah, go ahead.
Toronto.
Yeah.
What they going? They rebuilding. Let me, Van Fleet. He left for greener pastures. He signed with Houston.
Yeah.
Siakam really by himself. He has Dennis Schroeder and Gary Trent. Him too. But I think, to me, the wild card with that team is Gary Trent. They won't make the playoffs, play-ins, or nothing. I'm just being
I think they'll make the play-in. You don't think they're gonna make the play? Nothing.
No,
Oh,
man. Nope. I mean, unless you, no, I don't
this
see
is
it.
Scotty Barnes' year. Scotty Barnes he's gonna set it off this year, Ken. He's gonna carry him.
Yeah. Okay. All right. They gonna need to do something. So
yeah,
I think Siakam. I mean, it's just gonna be on his shoulders the whole year, and he's just gonna get wore down throughout the year, and it's just gonna take a toll on him. That's just me saying this, but I like Gary Trent Jr. I like his game, but I don't know if he won't have enough either to kind of keep them afloat.
Yeah, he nice. Yeah, he
new
nice.
coach, and nobody wanted that job.
Yeah,
they know.
Yeah, man, it's hard to get. I think, that's why you only got Kawhi for 1 year. Right. I don't think players want to go to Canada, man. I don't think they do. And I think it's a hard sell. And like you said, they're a hardworking team. I think they're going to give some folks some trouble this year. I mean, they're a good defensive team. They have been in the past. Offense is their problem. They just can't produce enough offense, man. I think they will make the play in, but I don't think they're going to go farther than that. But then again, who do they really have?
Siakam.
Other than Siakam. And like you say, losing Van Fleet was huge.
It was, yeah.
That was huge, man, because Fred can get out on you now.
Yeah,
if you let Fred get hot, it's a long night, man. It's a long night, man.
Because I remember when he first came into the league, all he could do was hit the open three.
Yeah.
That was it. But, develop his game.
Oh, yeah.
Started going to the basket and, competing on the defensive end too. So
it's looking good, man. As we move closer to the opening, I think it's the 25th. I think the season kicks off October. Don't quote me on that, but it's just a couple weeks away.
Right.
And I think, man, I don't think there's been this much parity around the league in a long, long time, where you're going to have to compete to win ball games this year. You're not going to walk into a lot of these games going, we got this one done. You got the Oklahoma City Thunder. If you don't come in, you going to get an L. Okay? And even Cleveland. If you don't go into Cleveland trying to win, you will get an L. So these teams are competing. And look at the West, Ken. The West is,
and which we're gonna talk about next, the next show. So yeah, I think the good teams are, will, let's just say, do well. It's gonna be a lot of bad teams, unfortunately.
Yeah.
That just seems, because I just don't see places like Charlotte. They're not gonna
San
do anything.
Antonio.
San Antonio.
That's another one that ain't gonna do nothing. I mean, Victor looked great, but one thing he's gonna have to get used to, losing a lot of games.
Yeah.
That's one thing. I don't know if he lost a lot of games in France, but I'm going to tell you, the tally is going to be going off this year because San Antonio, man, they do not have enough to even, get to the play-in. But Toronto is, same way. Great show, brother.
Yeah.
As always, man, the world of sports unites us. Let us take this unity into our everyday life. This is why they play the game.